Kerry Lee Harrington. This was their last meeting, and it was a pretty comprehensive victory in the Denmark Open, wasn't it?
Yes, it certainly was. And, you know, I think that an awful lot of the Thailand players, there's been such a battle for those Olympic places which are so precious and so rare. And for the Thailand players, well, it's been a long, long road. It really has. 23 tournaments she's played in the last 12 months, individual tournaments, that is, Ratchanok. And I thought...
Is that including the World Juniors? And
No.
No, that's
no,
why... Yeah,
that's the senior tournaments, yeah.
On my right, Thailand, represented by Inthanon RATCHANOK. And on my left, China, represented by Wang Yihan. Thailand to serve. Love all. Play.
Well, the host nation's big favourites here. Well, she may have been complaining of being tired, but if anything's going to wipe away those cobwebs, it's a chance to take the scalp of the world #1 in front of her home fans. So Wang Yihan takes the opening point here.
Yes, and of course I can't help but think back 2 years when Wang Yihan again was the world #1. She played #1 singles in the final of the Uber Cup and lost to the top Korean, Bae Seong-hee. And that was really the start of China's demise in that final of the Uber Cup 2 years ago. And
the start of her demise as well.
Absolutely. That really was almost the final straw as far as head coach Lee Yong-bo was concerned. And he said, you know, she'd had 1 or 2 poor results. She'd been #1 seed in the World Championships and had lost in the last 16 to Rika Hirose of Japan, who, if you were with us earlier, we saw her in the women's singles of the first semi-final. And head coach said, don't care that you're world #1, you've got to prove yourself again. Didn't select her for the Asian Games. So this is a pressure situation as far as I can see, as far as Wang Yihan is concerned.
Yeah, that is a pressure situation for her. It's a pressure situation really for all of the women's singles, though, in the China camp. And maybe that, in some way, partly explains what's been, by their standards, some indifferent form.
Yes, I think so. I mean, the thing is, as far as the women's singles are concerned from China, they have the top 4 positions in the world ranking. Now, for players to qualify for the Olympics, to get 3 players into the Olympic Games, all 3 players must be ranked in the top 4 in the world. Now, they've done that in the men's singles, along with Lee Chong-wei from Malaysia, so it's quite obvious which 3 men's singles players are going to go. As far as the women are concerned, it's still up to China, basically, in essence, to select 3 of those 4. So that's added pressure for all of these top singles players from China to prove themselves here in this Uber Cup. I can deal with pressure, I can deal with the big situation, and, you know...
and what do we read into the fact that Wang Shizin wasn't picked yesterday and wasn't picked today?
Well, I suspect we can read quite a lot into it. Wang Shizin has had 1 or 2 indifferent results in the India Super Series event. She was the #1 seed, lost out to Juliana Schenk from Germany. In fact, she's had a couple of losses to her. Good defense. Oh my goodness.
Oh, right on the line. What a fabulous point.
Short. Yeah, got what it deserved. But it all been set up by that tight spinning net shot from Wang Yihan.
Interesting with Ratchanok, and we're going to see pawn tip later, and her pulling out of the India Open when she was a game up, and then she was 18-10 up, and then she lost, I think, to Gu Pengyu, Zhuanggu of Singapore. It's an interesting story, wasn't it? Because it meant that pawn tip didn't get through, although obviously she shouldn't have to rely on her teammate to try and do that. But it saw her go out of the top 16 of the world. Brilliant from Wang Yihan here. She seems very much firing on her game at the early stages here. If she is nervous, she's not showing it. But yeah, Ratchanok citing a recurrence of her foot injury. She's obviously recovered in time to play here. And that win for Zhuanggu got her inside the top 16 of the world and met the pawn tip, didn't qualify along with her into the Olympic Games. Given their age, there's plenty of opportunities for more Olympic Games for these young Thai girls.
Oh, goodness gracious. That is phenomenal.
Played a few shots there without even looking at it. Both players.
Yeah, the spatial awareness. Look at that. Incredible. Instinctive play. You have to just react. You can't have time for the thought process. It really is just incredible reactions. Well, this is 6 straight points.
And it's all about Wang Yihan here playing as a world #1, because Ratchanok isn't doing anything particularly badly, is she?
No. You see Wang Yihan, she's a tall, elegant athlete, and she's very, very good physically moving around the court.
Yeah, after a win against Schnazer yesterday, as I say, we felt that, and all credit to Schnazer, that she wasn't necessarily at her best, and she was pushed all the way by the German, who after all is not the top German. Juliana Schenk's not here, and there's another couple missing as well. But immediately there was a kind of a debriefing with Lee Yongbo, the head coach, and he was very positive. Obviously I couldn't see what he was saying, but he seemed very positive in his outlook, and I think that confidence boost, send her out again today. You know, you won yesterday, go out and do it again. And I think we're seeing that spring in her step from her play yesterday, as if she's been given a vote of confidence. And she knows now that she can make up for that permanent grief, as Lee Yongbo called it, from 2 years ago when the Yuba Cup went away from China for the first time in 12 years. Well, that stopped the run of points, at least, for Ratchanok. We talk about it a lot, and I suppose as the competition goes on, it becomes even more important. But these first matches really do set the tone. And we saw a couple of comebacks last night, didn't we? That maybe go against that grain.
Can't really stress enough how important the first match is, and it's not just whether you've won or lost, it's the manner in which you play, and the commitment level that you give affects teammates, affects their attitude towards their play.
they're all in view tonight as well. The fact, you know, we've had 4 courts here on the previous days here at the Thomas and Uber Cups. Tonight it's just one court. One side of the court are photographers, other side of the court the team supporting them. Of course, team numbers for Thailand completely dwindled by the Chinese, who have not only got the women or the coaches there, they've got the men out supporting them tonight as well.
Yes, it's nice to see that the Thomas Cup squad are all here supporting the Chinese women's team.
They're not in action till tomorrow night, are they? They face Korea. Of course, China want to be facing Korea in the Uber Cup come Saturday afternoon.
Play.
Finds the line.
What you've seen of Ratchanok, and you mentioned last year as a 16-year-old in the Sudirman Cup. I mean, it's difficult to obviously to know exactly how a player's going to progress, but she seems to me to have the tools, and the fact that no one else has done what she did, which is win 3 World Junior Championships in a row. She's obviously a real talent.
Yes, very much so. I mean, never before has anybody won a world title, which is junior title, which is under 19 at the age of 14. She's young enough to play in the World Junior Championships again this year. It's possible she could win 4. Whether she will play the World Junior Championships, I'm not sure because of her senior commitments now. But, you know, watch her move. It's very economic movement, and also the racket skills. Typical Thailand player. Very, very relaxed, easy hitting style. She has a lovely loose grip as she holds the racket, and she holds it quite what I call a long grip. So it's right at the end of the handle, which sort of makes the lever even longer, the racket even longer, so that as she's hitting, because it's so relaxed, to turn the shuttle at the last moment, turn the racket head and create deception, it comes very easily to her. Yeah, nicely done. But it's quite noticeable between these two players when you watch their overhead action. One player looks much more manufactured, the other one looks just totally at ease as she's hitting. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with having a manufactured hitting action. I guess going back, I'm showing my age here, but a Jimmy Connors always, to me, as a tennis player, he always looked as if he had manufactured and worked very hard at, you know, his ground strokes, whereas a John McEnroe looked very easy in the way he hit the ball. Similar contrast between these two women's singles players. It's landed in.
Well, Wang Yihan pointed to the fact that she is of a strong belief that this one went out. She was wrong. It was on the line. Excellent call from the line judge. And Wang Yihan is looking up to the big screen and eating her own words.
Can't really afford errors on low serves against a world champion and world number 1.
Great power. A demonstration of what Jill was talking about, really. Teammates desperate for her to claw her way back into this game. 4 points behind now.
Yeah, it's perfect. And that, to me, is a little sign of just how concerned Wang Yihan is about playing this youngster. Going for a winning shot before she had really built the rally, built the opening. Oh, great net shot.
Oh, she enjoyed that. So she should.
11-14.
Excellent rally all round. And an apt way to finish it, really. When we're talking about the rivalry between the Chinese girls, the fact that Ratchanok here has got pawn tip as well to compete with, and they're competing against each other in finals, junior finals now as well. That's got to be healthy for the both of them as well in terms of lifting their games.
Without any shadow of a doubt. In fact, it's quite remarkable how many good young women's singles players are coming out of Thailand at the moment, and I'm sure a huge part of that is the fact that success breeds success, and the fact that they're all training together every day. You know, if one's winning world junior titles,
look at that again.
You know, the talent of that. I mean, the way the racket head just sort of clipped over the top of the shuttle and brought it down so steeply. Look at this, there's virtually no follow through of the racket. So if you're practicing with people like that on a daily basis and your teammates are getting great results, then all of a sudden you believe you can do it. You're not a million miles away from it. You know, if you can do it, why shouldn't I?
Game's getting a little tighter now.
One of the players selected for the doubles today, Sapsari Tanachai, also a very, very good singles player. In fact, she's been playing singles throughout this competition, but perhaps they feel that her playing singles and doubles in this semi-final just a little too much for her, and therefore they haven't selected her at third singles and kept her for doubles. But she also, I can tell you, is a very, very talented player. So there's at least 3 of them, and I think the oldest one is 20 or maybe has turned 21 now. Pawn tip, Borana Prasetsuk, I think, is the oldest, 19 or 20. Yeah, you see, Wang Yihan now feels under pressure. The fact that Inthanon RATCHANOK has got so many shots back and so economic with her movement that Wang Yihan is feeling that she's got to hit better and better shots to actually play the winner.
Yeah, just seeing a few unforced errors for the first time in the match from her.
down here supporting the team.
To within a point, didn't she? Inthanon RATCHANOK, but Wang Yihan's just stepped it up again. Hard hitting, 213 kilometers per hour.
That's a terrific net shot. And that took real courage because Wang Yihan was standing her ground at the net. Look, she's hovering. And yet look at that wonderful net shot from RATCHANOK.
I know the Danes were very upset to lose their quarter-final with Thailand yesterday. And the two of the players were a little teary. I mean, the fact that Tina Van obviously got to a great start beating this young lady. Maybe a bit of surprise that Thailand did come through for you, Jill, or not?
I always thought it was going to be a very, very close match. I have to say that I thought that the second women's doubles with Kruse and Ropka for Denmark, I thought that their performance was perhaps a little disappointing. I think the Danes probably banked on the first women's singles and both the doubles as their three matches within the tie. That's how they were going to win the quarterfinal.
Hard-fought opening game.
Oh.
What a time to throw that one in.
Is that a reflection of her state of mind?
A little bit of tension in the air. These mesmeric rallies.
Oh, that's so clever.
Point of the night, that one. It's going to be hard to be better here.
Yeah.
A few puzzled looks.
All played at such a pace.
The pose held. She knew that it was perfect.
Yeah.
Fabulous. What's Thailand?
She just keep readjusting that back support, doesn't she?
Game points. Well, she started so dominant here, Wang Yihan. As this game's gone on, the youngster at the other end of the court has been closing in, but she'll be pleased to see the back of this game if she can seal it here. Oh, what a fabulous opening game. Lee Yongbo is delighted as everyone else is inside the Wuhan Sports Arena because Wang Yihan really tested there, but it's come through 21-18. I mean, that final point just about summed it up. You know, she probably thought she'd won it before she actually ended up getting that winning point.
Yeah, every point contested so much. And look at the delight from Wang Yihan. She knows how important that was. Zhang Ling, the Olympic champion and coach.
Saw another Olympic champion, didn't we, in the crowd before? I had to cheer her on.
Yes, that's right. Former women's doubles Olympic champion Yang Wei on the Olympic title with Zhang Jiewen.
Well, 24 minutes of excellent women's singles badminton there. And as you can see, the majority of shots there are winners rather than unforced errors. I think sums that up. 12 winners from Wang Yihan and 14 from RATCHANOK.
Just shows the quality, doesn't it? Phenomenal. Look at that athletic ability. Strength in the legs.
Makes my eyes water.
20 seconds. 20 seconds. Wang, China. Wang. Second game. Global
More of the same, please.
play.
Oh. Well, she may have made the error, but I have to say that when you watch somebody as young as RATCHANOK, to see a player have the courage to try and do something a little bit different, take her opponent on at the net, well, in time she'll become more consistent on that and she won't be making the errors, but the fact that she's willing to try, I think, is a very good sign indeed. Yeah, and that.
Service over. 1-all.
She made it look easy, this backhand kill, but I can assure you it wasn't. Natural shot would have been to go across court, so for her to play it straight down the line, technically far more difficult.
2-1.
Just went wide of the line.
2-4.
Oh.
That was ridiculous.
Service over. 3-4.
Well, it's a pity we're not seeing that again, because technically, how on earth she produced that angle with very, very short, sharp movement of the racket.
4-3.
Yeah,
5-3.
backhand's not too shabby either, is it? Now, she got her back to the net when she played that, and yet still the spatial awareness to guide the shuttle carefully across court.
Thank you.
Usually find with young players they haven't got the physical strength or the technique or timing to be able to hit really good backhands. And she really has got it all. We'll have a word.
Wang Yihan is stirred.
4-5.
Determination in her eyes.
It's interesting, I was talking to Steen Peterson earlier today about the women's singles and about the lack of net play in comparison to the men's singles. And quite frankly, in this match, we're seeing every bit as much and as the sort of quality that we see from the likes of Lin Dan and Lee Chong-wei.
Yeah, Wang Yihan yesterday said actually that she was disappointed really. She would much rather have played Juliana Schenk than Karin Schnauzer. She says she wants to be tested against the best. Well, I think she's getting a desired wish here.
Definitely.
Fabulous. Well played, Wang Yihan.
The creativity of both these players is just awesome. The imagination to see shots, to experiment with the racket head.
One. Play. 7-5.
It's a collective sigh of relief. many of the crowd here. But things are turning back Wang Yihan's way in this second game. But it's a long way to go yet. But, she carries on producing this kind of quality. And fair play to her. Her level of powers have risen as Inthanon RATCHANOK has tried to throw her best at her.
Yeah, clever.
Service over.
Went for the angle on the first one, down the backhand side of Wang Yihan. Follows forward, and then the body smash.
Yep. Going for 200 on that one from Inthanon. Another one.
7-8.
Not surprised it needs changing.
Oh, that's just exceptional. Absolutely imbalance. Transference of the body weight as she lands to move forward again in court. Oh, she just missed it. But tactically in that rally, Inthanon RATCHANOK pushing the world champion to the back, then bringing her forward, pushing her to the back again, then going for the angle, making the Chinese world #1 work so hard within the rally, physically so much more difficult to have to change direction rather than running in a straight line. So that's going to be energy sapping of those leg muscles.
Wang Yihan having to work so hard for every point. But credit to her, she keeps herself out in front here. She was just a little bit off colour today. She'd be training in this match.
Yes, and there's still time for the youngster to turn this around. Already a famous person in Thailand, Inthanon RATCHANOK. Last year she was voted the Female Amateur Sportswoman of the Year, age 16.
She's from a modest background, and part of her rise to where she is has been funded by various sponsors, which is why, as well, she's played some events that maybe she probably wouldn't want to. She said at her age she's maybe played too many events, but obviously these financial commitments mean that she has to turn up at events. I'm sure when she's got herself more established, she'll be able to pick and choose where she goes, and I think you'll see the benefits of that as well as the years go on.
Yes, I do think that young players have to be a little bit careful, though, because while you're still developing physically and maybe still growing, I mean, she's only 17, so she may grow a little taller yet. I think if you put your body under too much stress and strain by playing too often, it could do some long-term damage. And it's careful planning really needed. Managed to create that winning smash out of nothing.
Very powerful, isn't she, there? Seen a lot of that. It was like an action replay of 4 or 5 other points we've seen down that end of the court in this game. 1 or 2 have just missed the line, but she's hit the mark as well a fair few times. Oh, that's clever as well.
Yeah. You know, the previous rally she wins with a powerful smash. That time using the same sort of overhead action, so you can't tell what's coming. And yet she just wraps that racket hander around the shuttle, steering it across court, bringing it down so steeply. Well, may have missed, but once again, going for a shot that was just delightful. Right shot at the right time, just sadly for her, wrong execution.
He just clipped the net on its way, took it wide, but nearly pulled off another fabulous winner there. Fastest one of the game. Not that time. So used to her clearing the net and just missing the line or getting on the line. Surprised to see her hitting into the net there. And it opens up a 3-point gap for Wang Yihan at the crucial part of this second game.
Oh, that looked long rather than wide. It was out.
Service over. 14-17.
Ratchanok not giving Wang Yihan any pace to feed off with that slice shot.
Just missing them now. Finishing line getting closer in this women's singles for China. Place in the final of the Uber Cup is up for grabs here. China looking to make it 1 point in a night where they need 3. That was left but was in.
Service over. 15-18.
Well, it's not quite coming off now, is it, for Ratchanok? Maybe going for these shots a little too early now. Match points have arrived in what's been 48 minutes of fabulous play in this opening women's singles. China are a third of the way to the Uber Cup final. Well played, both players. Excellent women's singles match. The teenage talent of 17-year-old Inthanon RATCHANOK really pushing the world number 1, Wang Yihan, who also produced some excellent badminton to keep her opponent at arm's distance. She can be very pleased with her efforts tonight. She's got China off the mark.
Yeah, she certainly has, but the more that I watch Ratchanok, the more excited I am about her as far as long-term prospect is concerned. She's shown this evening in front of the Chinese fans that she is a real threat now at the age of 17. What's she going to be like in about 3 or 4 years' time?
Yeah, it's pretty scary, isn't it? So, obviously a name that's going to very much feature around the world of badminton for years to come. And you never know. You wouldn't want to play against her in the Olympics, would you? You wouldn't want to be any drawn against her. She's ranked number 10 in the world right now. And, you know, if she can play like that, reproduce that at Wembley in a couple of months' time, then she's certainly the one to be feared.
Yes, she'll be the danger player that all the seeds will be wanting to avoid, that will be certain.
So confirmation, China 1, Thailand 0, thanks to that win from Wang Yihan. World number 1 in the women's singles. Next up, the world number 1s in the women's doubles. Wang Xiaoli and Wu Yang taking on Duanganon Runkason and Conchita Vorovici-Chaiko.